Thank you for joining today. I'm Kurt Young, Senior Product Strategy Manager here at Kemp, and will be taking you through this session on Kemp and NetApp StorageGRID. What this session will cover is how the load balancing and monitoring for object storage has evolved as the need for unstructured data continues to grow in the enterprise. Here at Kemp, we're all about providing the best possible application experience to the workloads we publish. And all the products within our portfolio allow us to provide that very thing. Today, the primary focus will be on the load balancer, or the Application Delivery Controller, ADC, as it relates to NetApp StorageGRID. The Kemp LoadMaster provides the availability, scalability, performance, and security for the StorageGRID solution. Later in the session, I'd like to touch on another solution in which we provide value to the StorageGRID customers, and that is our network performance monitoring solution called Flowmon. Back in November 2020, Kemp acquired Flowmon Networks to provide customers with better insight to network and application performance, as well as some security features which include anomaly detection and DDoS protection. Before we get into the details of this joint solution, we should ask, why do you need a load balancer in the first place? We know object storage delivers on reducing overall storage costs and promotes the modernization of applications and cloud-native apps. But with the addition of Kemp LoadMaster, the availability and resilience of the solution is greatly improved, as is the ability to properly scale, which is what unstructured data is really all about. We'll get into some additional ways on how the load balancer can further optimize and secure the solution, but overall, the goal is to maximize the value from the infrastructure investment. Just to highlight a few use cases on how Kemp delivers on that value. To start, we must ensure the storage is, of course, always available. Using advanced health checking for the StorageGRID nodes and directing traffic only to those nodes that are available and ready to accept connections. Whether that be within a single cluster or providing availability and resilience across multiple clusters or sites using our global server load balancing. Now, when it comes to storage, security is always going to be a focus. So when connections from today's modern applications require secure, encrypted access to the storage, the Kemp LoadMaster is optimized to take on this burden. And by offloading this unnecessary overhead from the StorageGRID nodes, increasing the overall performance of the storage. In addition to certificate management, the LoadMaster's built-in capabilities provide granular security leveraging zero trust principles. And finally, for those customers that have begun or already adopted IPv6, Kemp LoadMaster can terminate connections for both IPv6 and or IPv4, and is USG v6 certified. From a design or logical architecture standpoint, here we have two clusters that are distributed between New York and Seattle. Within each site, a pair of Kemp LoadMasters are deployed in front of the StorageGRID nodes, providing that high availability and the proper distribution of traffic. Now, should one of these nodes go offline for maintenance purposes or some unscheduled outage, the LoadMaster will automatically take that node out of rotation and direct traffic to all of the remaining healthy nodes. Now, taking a step outside of those sites, Kemp's global DNS load balancing is leveraged to direct traffic across the physical sites, providing that resilience. This could be a dedicated pair of LoadMasters for global distribution role, or the existing local load balancers in New York and Seattle could also be used. The scheduling or distribution of traffic across these sites can be delivered in many different ways. As a few examples, there's a simple round-robin method, which will evenly send traffic across these locations. And should a site become unavailable, direct all traffic to the healthy sites. Fixed waiting algorithm, which is used more for a disaster recovery scenario, sends all traffic to one or more sites, and only in the event of a failure, direct traffic to a DR site. And finally, there's also the ability to direct traffic based on location, sending connections to the closest data center and therefore reduce the distance or latency that would be introduced. As more applications and services begin to share the NetApp solution, there'll come a time where you need to control or police the system resources for each. You don't want a situation where some rogue application generates excessive traffic or some other unpredicted event which would impact the overall performance. This could, of course, have a negative effect on all applications accessing the storage. Kemp LoadMaster, with built-in quality of service, can rate limit connections at a very granular level, whether that be at the source IP address of the application or services accessing the storage, the namespace being accessed, or even down to the bucket being accessed. This rate limiting can be throttled based on connections per second, requests per second, or even bandwidth. It's with this fair and balanced access to resources which will enable the business to deliver on the SLAs established for the object storage solution. Back to the IPv6 adoption. Kemp LoadMaster has worked with the University of New Hampshire's Interoperability Lab and has been USGV6 certified for IPv6. If IPv6 implementation has just started and the need to support both IPv6 and IPv4 is required, the Kemp LoadMaster can be configured to support any combination that the environment requires. To build out the story a bit more, many network environments operate with the requirement for isolation, but may still need access to the shared storage. In this example, the IPv4 network and the IPv6 network have no connectivity to each other, but still need access to the storage nodes running in the 172.16.99 subnet. With the ability to support multiple interfaces and/or VLANs, the LoadMaster can be configured to proxy connections back to storage nodes regardless of network isolation, while still maintaining the necessary security measures put in place. A purpose-built feature as it pertains to object storage is the LoadMaster's ability to distribute traffic based on URL hash. In environments where multiple sites exist, and there's a requirement to direct traffic to the same site based on where it was written, the LoadMaster can direct traffic using a hash on the URL, specifically the bucket and object name, to ensure this proper routing. For instance, an object named Object9 is written to Site 1. When a read for that same object is requested, it'll be directed to Site 1 based on that URL hash. This scheduling method will operate whether virtual hosted or path style addressing is being used in the environment. Now, in the event the site in which the traffic is destined for is offline, traffic will then be directed to another site. I touched on the LoadMaster's built-in capabilities as it relates to providing really granular security based on zero trust principles. Kemp has developed a zero trust policy builder to allow storage administrators to apply this level of security based on different factors. First, who is accessing the storage? Have that be the source IP address of the application or the account being used to authenticate to the storage. Next, what access is being requested? Is it a get, is it a put, or a delete? And finally, where is the request destined for? In this case, the bucket. This was developed based on customer requirements where they had multiple security zones all having access to the shared storage. Security Zone 1 in this example, the least trusted zone, and applications within this zone were permitted to only read from certain shared buckets, while applications hosted in Zone 3, the most secure zone, were given access to read, write, and delete. This was to prevent apps within the least security zone the ability to possibly write or save malicious content that could compromise applications in the most secure zone. With this level of security, admins can be certain that applications connecting to the shared storage will be based on least privileged access and eliminate any unauthorized requests. I've covered the availability, security, and the overall optimization Kemp LoadMaster delivers for StorageGRID deployments. One additional area I'd like to highlight is the simplicity. All of the features and functionality covered in this session, one may assume it's going to be really difficult to get this configured. But with the use of Kemp application templates, the configuration of LoadMaster can be accomplished with ease. Application templates are developed and validated for each supported workload based on best practices. So with just a download of the template from the Kemp website, a few clicks, assign a virtual IP address, and add the StorageGRID nodes. That's about all you need to do, and the application template will take care of the rest. Okay, now onto network performance monitoring with Kemp Flowmon. What we've done, and something that sets us apart from our competitors, is our capabilities on LoadMaster to include native flow export, leveraging common protocols such as NetFlow and IPFix. As the load balancer, we sit in this privileged position between the clients or applications and the storage itself. Having the ability to enable network telemetry on the LoadMaster and export to a Kemp Flowmon collector, where this can be visualized with dashboards or reports, and used to troubleshoot common performance issues, is a huge win for storage admins. You identify bottlenecks, misconfigurations, security issues in the environment, performance metrics around round trip time or server response time, StorageGRID node response time in this case. Or are there a lot of retransmissions happening, which could lead to something going wrong in the environment? All of these examples, plus much more, can be surfaced with Kemp Flowmon. Once again, thank you for joining the session today, and hopefully it uncovered the value Kemp will deliver to your NetApp StorageGRID solution by providing an always-on application experience. For more information, contact your preferred NetApp reseller or visit us at kemp.ax.